y'all specialize in getting agents off the ground, making money quickly. Like if an agent's like, hey dude, I need to make money in my first 3 or 4 weeks, I need to make this amount of money, y'all can put together a plan to help them do that. What is up? Welcome back to the CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins, and today we have back in studio some of my favorite people first to have on the podcast. Before I actually bring him in, I want to brag on how good of a job they do at helping agents get off the ground, making money quickly. And they actually work with agents on the type of program that best suits them. This still helps the company and the agent, but I'm beyond impressed about their approach. They've been traveling around the country with us. They've been in, they've been in a ton of places, but they've been in Memphis and Vegas and Jersey, and they're all everywhere. They're back here. They've been to Springfield more than anybody I know. They've been to Springfield as much as I have, which is amazing. Please welcome back from Diversified Companies, one of the Rose Boys, Anthony Rose.
Hello, Cody. How are you?
I'm great, buddy.
Great to be here. Yes. Always love coming to Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah. It was okay this time so far.
We actually had a nice, smooth travel plan.
I worked with them. I said, hey, this individual's coming.
Please have that kind of pull.
Please take care of them. Yes. Yeah.
So does that mean United is buying CABOOM Leads from you now?
Yeah. That's next. That's next.
Okay.
Yeah. I love that. Dude, I like, there's a few things I enjoy about you guys. One, you guys just care about people, high ethics, I don't always edify every guest, but it makes sense because of how much you guys do for people. And I feel like there's a lot of things you guys do well, but I feel like getting agents up to speed, making money quickly. So here's why I bring this topic up. And I told Anthony, I'm like, dude, I want to talk about this because there's so many agents getting in the business. And one of the main interview questions that recruiters ask them, I don't know if it's good or bad to ask it, but one of the main questions is how long could you go without a paycheck? If I'm curious, if you were an agent and you got asked that interview question, jump in comments below. I'd love to know. That question comes up, and then agents are like, what does that mean? Do I have to go forever without a paycheck? Y'all specialize in getting agents off the ground, making money quickly. If an agent's like, hey, dude, I need to make money in my first 3 or 4 weeks, I need to make this amount of money, y'all can put together a plan to help them do that, which is cool.
Yeah, so just like when we're selling a client, everybody has a different need, right?
Yeah.
So when we speak to an agent who's either just getting into the business or has been in the business, the first thing we ask them is, what is it you're looking for? What are your current challenges? When it comes to money, and some people, it's not about money. Some people, it's about lifestyle. Some people, it's about leads. Some people, it's about training. Everybody has their different need. When it comes to the money side of things, obviously we need to be smart in what it is we're doing and different programs we're putting together for people. But one of the first questions that we ask everyone is, how much do you need, not want, how much do you need to pay your bills each month? Cool. And when an agent sits down and really draws that out without BSing, I need $20,000 a month to pay my bills. Okay, well then you have a different issue that we need to address.
If that was the case, everybody would be like, I got to make $100,000.
Right, of course. What do you need to pay your bills? Not what do you want to get to, what do you need? And then a lot of times we will sit down and we'll come up with a plan for them, whether it has to do with, doing some sort of draw for them or now, obviously, we've been in business a long time. We do our best not to get taken by someone.
Correct.
We always will be. Sometimes we put too much trust in people. But
for sure,
in the same token, we have intelligent conversations to say, if you do X, Y, and Z, then we can do A, B, C. And when an agent says, I'm going to get on the phone and I'm going to work 40 hours a week, for argument's sakes, and I'm going to do it from this time period to that time period, from 9 to 5 to 10 to 6, whatever it is, we see that they're doing that, then we're going to do whatever we have to do to help them.
It's cool.
There's times that people come in and say, I need to make $1,000 a week, and within their first week, they work 2 hours on the phones, and they say, I'm still not making $1,000 a week. Well, no shit, Sherlock.
Correct.
If people work we're going to help them get to wherever they need to get to earn the income that they want them. And then it's a win-win.
Yeah.
We basically make win-wins for everybody.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. I think quite often when people say I can't go X amount of time without a paycheck and they haven't been making that paycheck, it's either that they're in a bad deal, which is very common, or sometimes they need to look in the mirror and say, am I really working too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
true.
We have a situation that we've been dealing with for the last 2 weeks in our organization. It's AEP right now, so it's a little crazy. And one of the situations that we have right now is that our phone's been ringing too much. And I know that sounds absurd, but
that's wild.
We have too many inbound phone calls with not enough agents actually on the phone answering the phone.
Wow.
And Cody, we've never experienced anything like this. We actually went into our sales meeting last week and had to say to them, this is not BS. We had to say to them, we missed 600 incoming phone calls the day before. 600
in a day.
In a day. The day before, we missed 600.
You have like agents out, or staff were
agents
sick.
Say, "Well, I'm
like,
not busy enough.
Geez,
I'm not busy enough." You're not busy enough, but you're not on the phones. And it's a common thing.
600. How many agents could take a call if they all took one?
What do you mean?
Like amount of agents that could actually take a Medicare phone call like inside of your organization amongst everyone.
I'm gonna say right now is about 160.
Okay.
That could take inbound phone calls.
Wow. And still drop 600. Mother pearl,
because
dude.
a lot of those 160 already had 4 sales for the day and said, I'm going to take the afternoon off.
Ah, got it.
So they
can turn themselves off and stop receiving inbound calls.
Correct.
That's cool.
So the thing, and the reason I bring this up is because when we talk about an agent who says, I need to make X amount of dollars, I can't go more than 4 weeks without making it. If you make a commitment to work, we make a commitment to you.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I think that's how the world goes around. If you make a commitment and someone else makes a commitment, everybody's got to live up to their side of things. And we have some very successful people that were kind of on the balls when they started with us, and now, that's not the case because they actually came through with working.
Wow, I'm blown away by that number. That is insane.
That was one day too.
Gosh, how many more agents I'm guessing you have ability to plug more people in if you find some right people.
As long as we find the people that are going to work.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah. How do you locate that?
How do you find the people that are willing to work?
How do you know? I mean, you've been around this business for your entire life, practically, right?
And if we had the winning formula for finding the right, most successful agent, I'm pretty sure we would all be retired by now.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I don't believe there is a winning formula. The name of our company is Diversified, right? And when you look at our successful agent base, they are the most diversified group of people you could possibly imagine.
They are.
You have all different cultures, all different races, all different ages, genders. I mean, you have a diversified group of people. I don't think anyone could ever put their finger on this is the most successful agent. Obviously, there's a model.
Sure. You guys have a good system.
We have a good system.
Great system.
Ultimately, it comes down to one thing. We like to use the acronym FAT. We're looking for a fat person. Have you heard this before?
I think I have once from you.
A fat person. We're looking for a person who is flexible, adaptable, and trainable. If someone is willing to work, is going to learn what it is that we're teaching them, they're going to be successful.
Yeah.
It's actually not that difficult. It really isn't that difficult. Even if you suck, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
That's true. Is there? Have you noticed too? Like you kind of alluded to this. Have you learned that the more they talk a big game and brag about themselves when you're interviewing and recruiting them, that most likely the worse they will do?
Yes.
That's weird. Isn't it?
I think people are full of crap a lot. It brings up a very interesting topic, and that's the topic of confidence versus ego.
Yes.
right?
Yes. Because you need confidence.
You need to have confidence. You know, my 22-year-old had an interview last week for a job. He graduated college now, and he's looking for a new job. And
let's go.
He was kind of role-playing with me the different questions that would be asked of him. And I had said to him, no, answer that with confidence. You've accomplished X, Y, and Z. That's what you should. You should. He said, well, I don't want to sound too egotistical, Dad. And I said, you're right. You shouldn't sound egotistical. However, you should also be proud of the accomplishments that the things that you've accomplished.
Amen.
So you can be confident in what you say. You could be confident in the fact that you're going to be successful.
Yep.
But you could do that without the big ego as well.
Yes.
You could just get that point across. And I think that's what we have to try to determine when someone is speaking a big game. Are they just being egotistical, or are they confident in what they've done before or what they can do? You know, we want someone who's positive. We want someone who says, I know I'm going to do that.
Correct.
One of our vice presidents at Diversified, he's been with us for, I'm going to say about 23 years or so, 24 years.
Okay.
When he started with us, he didn't speak very good English.
I know you're talking about now. Yeah.
He was a car salesperson.
Wow.
He had a baby that was like 2 weeks old. And
oh my gosh.
He came in for an interview, and I remember sitting with him, and I was showing him I had a pitch at that time of saying, and if you do this, you get this bonus, and this was in the life insurance business. And I remember him looking at it and saying, none of that matters. I'm going to be number one. And he pointed to it. And I remember saying, oh, God, I'm getting smoke blown right now, you know? And I remember him leaving, calling him back for a second interview, of which he then interviewed with my father. And he said to my father, just give me leads for 1 week and let me go. This guy just got his license. He knew nothing about the insurance business. Just give me leads for 1 week, and I will work these leads, and I will make it successful. And he was a nice guy, and my father was reluctant, and my father gave him the leads. And he came back a week later, and he said, I don't remember what the premium amount was. I want to say it was probably about $5,000 in production, which at that time, it was a lot in the final expense business.
Yep. It's still very good, by the way. Yeah.
Then it
in
was
a week.
Then it was like, whoa!
I
like,
believe that.
Did you have a family reunion or something? What did you do to get this amount of business?
And especially first week, like.
And it was his first week.
Bro.
And I remember him coming in and saying, you know, is this enough? And we were like,
almost.
Wait, what? This is why I knocked on the door of every single one of these leads, and I did what I had. See, the guy had the desire to work.
Yes.
And now he's vice president of marketing. For us.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
he's
a good dude too.
grown substantially with it.
Impressive guy.
The point is, he wasn't egotistical in what he was saying. He was confident.
Yeah.
He was confident. He sold us by saying, "Don't you worry, I'm going to do this." So I think that was a long answer to a short question.
Did it. I'm going to interrupt the podcast to tell you about our CABOOM leads that are literally blowing up. If you would love to never get disconnected numbers or wrong numbers ever again, then you will love our leads at CABOOM Leads. All of our lead types, we text the prospect a 6-digit security code. They go back in the funnel and put that in to verify that it is a real, accurate cell phone number, and they've responded to a text message. We do this for all of our lead types. If you haven't tried CABOOM Leads, you can use coupon code podcast to get 10% off of your very first order at CABOOMleads.com. Back to the show. Here's an interesting question too, based on that is, I feel like this happens a lot as well, where some agents will do well and they'll go make like a sell, and then people will just go like nuts, like, oh my gosh, dude, that is insane. Where other places have a standard where it's like, that's good, but it's normal. You know, How do you manage that while you want to highlight, praise, compliment, reward, but you don't want to ever limit anyone too, you know, because that individual you're talking about went on to do way bigger things than just $5,000 a week.
Right.
Which is cool.
Right.
And they don't know when they're brand new. They don't know any better. Like
Yes.
They don't even know what's like. He proved it. They don't know what's good.
So
Until you tell them.
it's really interesting
And then
you bring this up.
you set the bar.
Yes.
And sometimes you create the law of the lid for them.
That's right. It's really interesting you bring this up, actually.
Okay.
Again, you know, we're in AP right now.
Yeah.
The most historic, most successful AP we've ever had.
It's awesome.
Which we
Let's
could talk
go.
about that in a minute.
That's cool.
We were in a sales meeting showing some production numbers just last week, and some of the numbers are stupid. The amount of apps agents are writing, stupid. I mean,
cool.
we got a couple of agents in just the first few weeks that are over 200 applications. I mean, stupid numbers.
Wow.
We have a lot of new agents that in just the first few weeks have written 30 or 40 applications. Pretty good.
Still really good.
Brand new to the business, pretty good. But
Still pretty good.
We're in a period right now where it's like, we got agents writing a couple hundred. So I remember us sitting in the meeting and we were going through it, and my brother Mike actually stopped and said, I just want to point something out. There's about 50 of you right now that are sitting here on this call probably feeling discouraged because you only wrote 35 or 40 applications in the first 3.5 weeks of AEP. And you're brand new to the business. You're doing a really good job. It's your first AEP.
Cool.
There's a lot of agents on here that did not do that their entire first AEP completely, and we're not even halfway through it, and you've done that. So you got to recognize where you're coming from and where you're starting.
That's cool.
In the same token, those people also see those bigger numbers and say, I need to get to there.
Yep.
So it's managing expectations. We have people that, we sit down with everyone to come up with what their personal goals are for AEP. And we have brand new people who come in and they say, I'm going to write 150 applications for AEP. And the truth is, we know they're not going to write anywhere near 150 applications for AEP. We know it, and we have to manage those expectations.
How do you do that?
We basically say, look, we're glad you have that goal. We're glad you have that number. But we need to be realistic because we want you to hit and exceed the goal that is set. And we all have pipe dreams. We all have hey, listen, I want to do 1 million applications during AEP. I know we're not going to do 1 million applications, at least not this AEP.
That's true. Maybe next one.
Maybe next one, or maybe the one after that. But we all have big dreams and we all have pipe dreams, but we need to be realistic. There's nothing worse than setting a goal and not hitting it. Now, we don't want to undershoot.
Sure.
I know you're a big believer in setting the goal higher.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know that.
But not like 150 and then I write 12.
Right.
That is disheartening.
It's disheartening. So we have to be realistic.
Sure.
We need to set a realistic goal. We need to set a stretch goal.
Yeah.
And then we need to figure out how to get in the middle of those two. That way nobody's unhappy.
That's cool.
So
That's cool. Huh. That is intriguing how it's and the fact that you guys are exploding so much, so many good things are happening. Like, dude, that's got to be exciting for the whole organization, and like the energy's got to be just buzzing, man.
It really is.
But also frustrating that we're dropping 600 calls.
Yeah. I mean, it's and listen, since last week we have fixed that.
Okay, good.
A lot.
Good.
We have fixed that a really lot. We had a meeting with everyone, and basically in the sales meeting said, throughout your whole career, how many times have you sat there and just said, if I only had more people to speak to, I would be successful? Well, guess what? We're feeding you all the people that you want.
That's right.
Right now.
That's right.
To be successful, and a lot more people have hopped on the phones and put
cool.
more hours.
That's a good point too. It's like that's an amazing problem to have. That you're right. That is the number one reason why agents fail is they don't know how to get in front of people. They struggle. You guys do a great job of that, by the way. Like, I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but like you buy people leads. You send them calls.
Yeah.
You like it's the goal is to help them be successful.
Correct.
No matter what it takes.
Correct.
Now, you're going to give somebody free leads forever when they're not working or producing, or you're just not
if
seeing
you're
a return.
If you're not working,
no.
we're shutting you off. I mean, it's
that's business.
we are not a big believer.
You're not a charity quite yet.
Not yet. We're big believers in not giving people a contract, a box of supplies, a pat on the back, and saying, "Go get them, champ." We don't believe in that.
That's good.
I think I've said that before.
There's
We
a lot of
believe
that,
in
though.
bringing people in. Oh, of course there is. And listen, there's nothing wrong with it. We have business partners that's how they work, and they write a heck of a lot more applications than we do by doing it that way.
Sure.
But we just really believe in building the family, bringing people in. For the most part, agents don't leave us, and agents leave. I mean, that's part of the business.
Sure.
But when people come into the business, they become a part of like the family. They know they're part of sales meetings. They're part of everything that we're doing.
We saw that at the gala, by the way, when we went to Jersey. My wife and I.
Our annual
Dude,
awards banquet.
Oh my
Sure.
gosh, dude, you had tons of people that have been there 10, 15, 20, 25 plus years.
Yep.
I'm like, babe, I was so amazed. And I was like, babe, we've got to figure out how to end up with this culture. I'm like, I'm so impressed.
It's a different culture, Cody, because if we had 1,000 people, it'd be really hard to maintain that culture.
Yep.
Really hard.
Very hard.
But by keeping it so that it is a much more manageable size, it makes it that we could pick up the phone and call them. I mean, I get on the phone and have conversations about one piece of business's commission with an agent all the time. You know, it's, now, should that be something that you know, one of our 50 employees is doing? Maybe.
Yeah.
But the agent certainly appreciates the fact that we're there.
So you bring up a good point too that I was thinking about, because let's just say some business partners of yours, you know, that partners that y'all work with, other companies that have massive organizations with thousands of writing agents and writing hundreds of thousands of policies every year, right? All this stuff. They may see a Diversified and think, they're boutique-y,
That's
they're
right.
small, they're
That's right.
unsuccessful, whatever,
That's right.
Like, same for agents that see big, huge writers making $500,000,
That's right.
and they're not. Kind of speak to that, because y'all have chosen a different path.
It is definitely chosen.
Because you can recruit the world.
Don't get me wrong, and I'm going to get a little vulnerable on you for a second.
Please.
There's plenty of times where we sit back and we say, my goodness, how does such and such agency do 100,000 applications in such a short amount of time? How do they do that? So there's a little bit of jealousy there at times.
I get that. There's always like, I'm not totally satisfied, or look at what's happening.
Sure. I mean,
with the neighbor. You know?
I'd be lying if I said
Sure.
there wasn't. Now, but like you said, we've chosen to truly positively impact the lives of the people that are on our team. And by doing that, it helps us to help them. It helps us to know what's going on in their life. It helps us to know where their weaknesses are and where their strengths are. You know, we saw a little bit of we've grown a lot this year as far as agent base goes.
Yep.
And we've seen a little bit of us not really knowing who an agent is. And we probably lost people because of that. And that part of that is because we grew so fast.
True.
But we don't like that. That keeps us up at night.
Yeah.
That really keeps us up at night. We want to know who our people are. And that's the path we've chosen, like you said.
That's right.
Now, with that said, I bet that the agents within our smaller group are writing a lot more business than most
Per agent. Yep.
Than those others. I can almost guarantee.
I can too.
Now, obviously, we're a part of Integrity.
Yep.
So we have a lot of partners who are within the same business as us, and they'll outright us all day long. But it's a different mentality as far as how they do it.
It is, yeah. And policies per agent, amount of commissions, et cetera. Like you guys do a good job, and it doesn't mean another organization is wrong.
Right.
It's just that's the way you have chosen to run it.
It's just different.
It is. It's a very family type atmosphere, and I think that's cool. And so there may be somebody out there like, bro, I respect that. I wish I was a part of something like that, you know. And so if they're out there and they're like, hey, I need some help, man, I wouldn't mind chatting with you. What should they do, or where should they go?
Well, you could send me an email. My email is anthony@thediv.com. You can always go to our website, which is thediv.com. They can always check out theroseboys.com. There's lots of ways to contact us, man.
Keeps increasing the amount,
there's
right?
lots of ways.
Yeah.
Cody, I want to bring one thing up when we talk about the way we manage versus the larger organizations. Anybody who's in the Medicare business knows that this has been such a shakeup. Medicare Advantage enrollment in general has doubled across the board this year.
Insane.
There has been so much shakeup between the Part D Reduction Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, or just carriers changing benefits, carriers pulling out of different areas. I mean, just this is a shakeup like there's never been before.
The inflation reduction that didn't reduce inflation.
Exactly. They say that about 80% of people that are on Medicare will either change or look to shop to change during this open enrollment. 80%. Man, that is a stupid number.
I think because there's not more people, but there are more people looking. That makes sense, because I was like, that just means there's more people that typically stay on their same plan in normal years, which is not happening this year.
It's a lot of switching.
Gosh,
and that's
dude,
one of the reasons
80%.
why production is up. It's higher than 80%. Gosh. It's I don't want to.
How many Medicare beneficiaries are in the U.S.? Is it like 60 million or something?
I should know the answer to that question, but
it's gotta be a big number.
I'm not going to quote it. And if you Google it, you're going to get 4 different numbers.
Okay.
So I'm not going to throw a number out there. But the reason I bring this up is there's so much production happening around the country that about a little over a week ago, all of the companies at once actually came out and said, you guys need to slow down on how much production you're giving it, to the point where they actually took some business and made it non-commissionable, or they suppressed it and removed it from digital platforms. Now, first, anyone who's not in the Medicare business is probably scared when they hear that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's change. Change, a lot of times, shows more opportunity.
Yeah, it does. You're right. It does.
In our organization, we were able to get everybody on the phone into a Zoom meeting and explain what's happening, where, when, and why, and take questions and do what we needed to do so that everybody left the day after it happened understanding it.
You guys also pivoted and were more, it caused you to be more creative as well.
100%. It caused us to be more creative. And okay, well, great. Well, that means we're going to write more business with this company over here because of this, as a result of it. You know what? Let's stay out of this state right now because there's too many companies pulling. We don't want something. It allowed us to do it. Quite honestly, we wouldn't be able to do that if we had 4,000 agents. We wouldn't be able to open up where everyone isn't muted and say, hit us with the questions. Yeah. Let's talk this through. I love that. That's one of the advantages of being able to work like that. And we talked them off the ledge. Because there are some people that are very nervous about this.
And some of them are probably your first one, and they're like, what is going on? Is this normal? And it's not necessarily normal.
This is so not normal. But it's freaking great, man.
It is.
It's great. We knew there was going to be a shakeup. A lot of people were scared. And we kept saying, don't be scared. Embrace this. It's change. Change happens, just like the seasons change. Change happens.
Amen.
And it's working out just fine for everybody.
That's cool.
Just fine for everybody. So.
It does speak to that, because you're right. It would be very, because here's what happens in most extremely large organizations. I think it's okay to say this. It's like there's an update that goes out via email, or they get people on a call, but nobody gets a chance to ask questions or talk. Correct. They just like tell you what's happening and how it's going to affect you. I like that. It's like it's a controlled distribution, in that you're not controlling them by any means, but you're able to control the narrative and what's happening, and make them feel like they're a part of the conversation, in the loop.
So this may be this may be me showing my age. This may be me showing that I'm old.
He's 35,
acting
35,
old.
Yeah. He's the youngest Rose boy.
Yeah,
in case
he said it. Right.
They're not here to defend themselves.
Yeah, right.
Dan's in the other room, but
the bottom line is everything is sent via emails, right? Everything is in a portal. When somebody doesn't know something, the response quite often is, "But I emailed that to you." But we put that on our portal, but we texted it. Again, I'm showing my age a little bit, but
no, you're right.
How about having a damn conversation? How about picking up the phone and saying, here's the story. Do you have any questions? Yeah. This is what we're going to need to do.
Correct.
I don't want to get on a webinar and mute everybody and make it that they can't ask questions about something so drastic.
Correct.
Again, number one, showing my age. Number two, it kind of shows you that it's a little bit easier for us. And we send out all the email blasts, and we send, not everybody gets on the calls. And yeah, I mean,
sure.
But the method of we're going to communicate with you is better. I'd rather communicate with you than communicate to you. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah. It's more of a community approach as well.
Correct.
Which is cool. That's awesome.
Correct.
I appreciate you sharing that, because that ties everything in.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. Which method is the best way for them to, like, they got a bunch of options to reach out. What's like, if they're like, you know what, I would like to jump on a call with one of the Rose Boys or one of the executive team members, what's the best way to do that?
So I would suggest, just for the sake of ease, since I'm sitting here, is shoot me an email. It's anthony@thediv.com.
Cool.
More than likely, I will end up hooking you up with Mike Jr., one of my brothers. Mike takes care of most of the recruiting within the organization.
I think he's similarly equally qualified to help.
I would have to say, when it comes to putting the plan together, he's the one. He's the guy. He's very creative. He's very creative with putting plans together and figuring out how to do it. And then Dan actually steps into the operational. He operationalizes what was come up with. So it's almost like when you got the salesperson out there, and then they have to. It comes back to supply actually being delivered on what the salesperson just promised. Yeah. That's what happens there.
That's cool.
Mike gets creative and figures it out, and then Dan figures out how to make it happen.
Yep. But then you, I feel like on the back end are like also making sure that it all happened correctly for everyone at the same time.
We all have our hands in everything, man. It's crazy. People say to us all the time when they meet the three Rose Boys, three Rose brothers, they say, who does what? And we all just look at each other and say, what the hell do we do? Because our hands are in everything.
I've seen that. It's true.
We have different strengths and so on and so forth, but our hands are in everything. It really,
cool.
It really is.
Cool.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's
definitely unique for sure. Well, thank you for being back.
Thank you for having
being so
me here.
open.
Absolutely. Look forward to. I think we've done all but one road show this year. We've literally traveled the country all year together.
Yeah,
and,
it's been awesome.
Yeah, it has. So, thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Happy to be here.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Also, thank you guys for hanging with us. Again, email Anthony@thediv. That's THEDIV.com. And two, dude, like he was talking about, hey, communicating and being transparent. Like it made me think. Like I just got off an affiliate meeting with, some of our top CABOOM relationships and sharing things that are happening. And we're having record weeks at CABOOM. If you ever want to try them, you can use coupon code YouTube and get 10% off. Thanks for hanging, and we'll see you on the next podcast. Adios.